Hello friends, welcome to another chair yoga video. I'm Nina and I'm so happy that you decided to join me. In today's class we're going to work to release tension in the body. Release the tension in the muscles by a squeeze and tensing of the muscles and then a release. And we'll do that throughout the body, throughout our practice. You'll need a chair, perhaps a block if you have one, and we'll get started. I'm here in my chair, and I often use a block to connect my feet to the floor. We might use it for something else today, so if you do have a yoga block, please go grab it. If you don't have one, no worries. We have a great practice with or without the block. So let's sit back in our chair. Let's connect our feet to the earth, either directly or with a prop. We'll let the hands rest, palms up in the lap, and we'll arrive here. Take a moment to notice any tension resident in the body before we begin. Check in with the face, the head and neck, the jaw, the shoulders, including the arms and the hands. So just kind of notice the entire arm. And then notice any tension in the hips, thighs, and the lower leg. Checking in so that we know what we're starting with. And then turn your attention to your breath. See if you can smooth it out. Slow it down. And then we'll stack those palms at heart center and take a moment to set an intention for today's practice, which might be this idea of release tension, or it might be anything else that's important to you today. And then release those hands back down to your lap. Open your eyes if they're closed. We'll take a circle or two with those shoulders. And then we're going to move to the edge of our chair, connecting our feet now directly to the floor. So I'm sitting towards the edge of my chair, both sitting bones are on the chair, and both feet are firmly on the floor. I'm going to bring my hands to my lap and move a little bit in our cat and cow way. So we'll inhale, fill up the belly, arch the back. And as we exhale, we'll bring that belly button back, round the spine, drop the chin. Push into your feet and start that process over again. Bringing some motion into the spine. And let's do one more breath like this, one more round of both inhale and exhale. Using that slow, even breath that we started with, and then sit up tall. We'll take our hands forward and bring fingertips to shoulders, and just begin to make some small circles with those elbows, making some smooth motions into the shoulders. So these don't have to be big, but I'd like them to feel smooth and no pain. So take your time here, explore the shoulders, bringing some motion here. And I'm going back with my elbows back because we tend to know how to hunch forward, but this is a nice reminder of keeping that upper body lifted and open. And we'll take one more circle and then let the hands rest down in the lap. Notice any sensations in the upper arm, in the upper back. And then we're going to move to the neck a little bit. So as we inhale, I'm going to take my left arm up and turn my head to the right. And then as I exhale, I'm going to float the arm down, bring head back to neutral, and then go to the other side. So the inhale is going to lift right arm, head turns left, And then float that back down, bringing really nice, smooth movement into the neck. Doesn't have to be a big turn, but we're moving smoothly, both with the arms and with the neck. We'll even out the sides. I'm finishing with my right hand up. Left hand up, head turning right. And then bring that hand back down to your lap. Take a circle with those shoulders. Check in with how things feel. How's the tension in the neck, in the head? Now let's take those shoulders all the way up to the ears. You know, we shouldn't be doing this, but we tend to do this a lot, right? And then just let them go. So here's a really good example of squeeze the shoulders up, and then release. Let's try it a few more times. Squeeze, 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 release. You know what, this time let's add in the face too. So squinch up your face, your eyes, and then release everything. One last one. Shoulders, face, and then release. And now notice how things feel in the shoulders, in the neck. Have we been able to release any tension up there? Okay, we're going to do a little flowing movement here. As always, nothing should hurt. Please work within your acceptable range of motion. No pain, no pain. Excuse me, I will take my left arm out to the side. And on an inhale, I'm going to sit a little taller so that as I exhale, I'll cross that arm over as if I want to shake someone's hand on this side. My thumb is up. And I have a little twist in the upper back, and I feel a stretch in my shoulder. Next inhale opens the arm wide again. And then as I exhale, I'm going to reach up and over into a side body stretch. If your arm doesn't want to go that way, you can always bring fingertips to shoulder. And then float that arm back out. So that's the sequence. This is the inhale. Exhale, reach across as if we're shaking hands. Inhale, open wide. Exhale, side body stretch. Inhale, wide. Exhale, cross. Open. Side body stretch. And then float that hand back down into your lap. Pause for a moment, noticing the difference between left and right sides. And then we'll do the other side. So we'll take that right arm out to the side now. This is our inhale. As we exhale, we cross it over as if we're going to shake someone's hand on this side. And notice where you feel that twist. Notice the sensations in the shoulder. And then the inhale will take the arm wide again. As we exhale, side body stretch. Now, again, be kind to that shoulder. It might be fingertips to shoulder. It might be long arm. You might have your hand on your hip. We're working with that side body. And then next inhale takes it wide. So let's go through 2 rounds, just going through it without break. Inhale here. Exhale, cross. Inhale, open. Exhale, side body. Wide. And cross. And wide. And side body. And then float that hand back down to your lap. Pause and check in with sensations. Now let's take those arms in front of us. We're going to have a real soft fist, right? My thumb is on top, my fingers are curled in, but this is soft. And here's where we're going to do a little squeeze and release. So I'm going to engage my entire arm and my hands, but just be kind with the whole body, kind with the hands, and then I'm going to soften. So let's see if we can engage those muscles in the arms and then soften without bringing shoulders up to the ears. We don't want to be there, we want to be here. So the arms are engaged and we soften. Tense up the arms, tense up the wrists, the hands, and soften. Let's do 2 more. And we're not tying this to breath. Just working with the muscles, float the hands back down to your lap. Notice sensations in the arms now, the entire arm. Take another breath. Now we have another choice here. We can do the same thing, or you might want to take the arms up overhead. They could be long and straight. They could be cactus. Elbows could be a little bit straighter, wherever you want to be. So anywhere from here to here is great, but same thing, that soft fist, and then engaging the entire arm and releasing. And we want to engage the arm without hiking up the shoulders. But with the arms lifted, you may feel the shoulders moving a little, but let's try and keep them down from the ears. Let's do one more like that. Squeeze and release, and let your hands rest back down in your lap. Take a circle with those shoulders. See how that feels. Getting rid of some of that tension. Okay, now we're going to take the arms forward again with that soft fist. Just keep them soft for now. We're going to move into a bow and arrow arm. So we'll take an inhale here, and as we exhale, I'm going to pull back with my right elbow. I could even turn and look at it. And then when I inhale, I come back. So the arms are strong, but I'm not doing that squeeze and release right now. I'm just keeping the arms strong. So they're engaged, but we're not pulsing through it. Now, what if we decided to aim upwards a little bit? How does that change this sensation? A little bit of a twist in the spine. And what if we aim down a little bit? And then let's come back to neutral for one round like that. And then let your hands rest in your lap. Take a circle with the shoulders, see how that feels. Now before we move to standing, let's do a little bit with our feet just to get them ready to go. Let's take one foot up, make circles at the ankle. Go in both directions, point and flex. So just getting that ankle ready to go, the sole of the foot ready to go, everything working. And then we'll put that foot down, we'll switch to the other side. So circle the foot at the ankle. Be sure to go in both directions. Point and flex. And then we'll put that foot back down. Both feet are real close together now. Let's bring the heels together too. And we'll do that V lift. When you inhale, pick up the fronts of the feet, all the toes are lifted, and then we're going to open the feet wide into a V. Heels are down, and then we're going to lower the feet. So now we're in a V shape right now. We'll pick them up, we'll bring the toes back together, and put them back down. This really gets more into the ankles. Lift up the front of the foot, pivot on the ankles, open into V, lower the feet, pick up the V, bring them back together, put the feet down. And just take a moment to check in with those sensations in the ankles. Now we're going to take a slightly wider stance. So slightly wider than hip distance. Again, moving to our squeeze and release. Going to take my hands face each other, and I'm going to bring them inside my thighs. And I'm going to squeeze my thighs towards my hands and push into the back of my hands into the thighs. And then release. So try that. Feet are connected to the floor. Sitting bones are connected to the chair. And we're doing that squeeze with the thighs and the arms and release. Squeeze and release. We'll do one more like that and release. And this is very minimal movement, right? If I didn't tell you that my legs were squeezing, you may not notice it. So it's not a big movement, but very strong muscle work. Same thing, palms face each other. We're going to take them to the outer thighs now. Same idea. This time the thighs are pushing out, palms are pushing in. Squeeze, arms engaged, legs engaged, and release. Do it a few more times just to turn on those muscles of the outer thigh. Also, the core gets engaged as well. It's got to be working if everything else is, right? Two more. And then release. Take a big breath here. Check in with sensations throughout the body. and we'll move to standing. Once I move to standing, I've cleared my workspace, and now I'm facing the back of my chair in case I need it for support. I also have the wall behind me if I need that. If you have a block, we're going to try one thing from our mountain pose, our Tadasana. We're going to take our block the skinniest width, that's this way, long edge parallel to the earth, and squeeze it between the thighs. This is very similar to the squeeze and release that we did with our hands just now seated on our chair. So if you don't have a block, don't worry about it. Take a stance and imagine you've got those hands there. But we're doing the same thing. We're going to squeeze the thighs towards one another. You notice that your rib cage lifts up out of your hips, and then we release. So it's a very small, very subtle movement, but the legs are engaged. You might even engage those glutes, and then we release everything. Last squeeze and release. And then just put that block down. So if you were doing it without a block, you're just standing there imagining the thighs are going together. It works perfectly. Now let's move to a warrior one behind our chair. So I'm going to step my right foot forward, my left foot back, and bend that front knee. I'm facing the back of the chair. I'm set up for my warrior one. My foundation is there. Once we find that, let's take those arms forward, soft fist with thumbs on top. Now imagine in your head that we're squeezing those thighs together, and we're also going to engage the arms. So thighs are working, arms are on line, and then we soften. Squeeze, arms and legs, and release. Let's do, let's say 2 more. Now, release the hands, step your back foot forward. You might need to remind your body to release now. Let the legs release. And we'll do the other side. Left foot forward, right foot back. I'll turn around so you can see. My front knee is bent, my hips are kind of squared. Straight ahead here, shoulders over hips. Legs are strong. In my head, I'm thinking about those thighs going towards one another when I do my squeeze and release. Arms are forward, shoulders down from the ears. Let's do our squeeze and release again. So arms and legs, engage and soften. Engage and soften. 2 more. And then release the arms down, step your back foot forward. Check in with those sensations. We're going to come back to that right foot forward, warrior one again. Front knee bent, I've got my foundation. This is where I know I'm strong. This time the option is to have the hands here, or you might reach them up somewhere in here, just as we did seated. Same thing, we're going to do that. Squeeze and release with both the legs and the arms. See if you can do it without squinching up your face. We can add that in later. Let's do 2 more. Legs are working, arms are working. Release the hands down. Step that back foot forward. Last side. Left foot forward, right foot back. Figure out where you want your arms. And then we do that squeeze. So legs are active, arms are active, and then everything softens. Arms and legs, and soften. And then we'll release those hands back down. Step your back foot forward. Pause and notice how that feels. So a little different sensation with the legs, especially because they're not parallel, but they're in 2 different positions. And now we're going to take that a step farther. So let's come to our wide stance now, moving to warrior 2. You can have that chair right in front of you, but I'm going to keep it off to the side so you can see me better. I'm going to turn my right toes out to the right, my left toes in slightly, and this knee bends over the right ankle. So It's not a big, wide stance. As a matter of fact, you can make it as narrow as you like. I don't want anybody being here and like doing this, right? We want to feel that we're very stable. This is our Warrior Two stance. Usually we're here, right? This is Warrior Two. Shoulders over hips. I'm turning, looking over that front hand. What we're going to do today, keep this foundation as it is. We'll take our palms up and we'll raise the hands a little bit. So they're slightly over the shoulders. We're going to do the squeeze and release just of the legs. Keep the hands soft, keep the elbows soft, wrists soft and fingers soft. And do that squeeze and release of just the legs. If you need to bring a hand down to support yourself on the chair, please do. And then let's pause. I'm going to drop my left hand down to let it rest on that leg. I'm going to reach my right arm up to the ceiling. Breathe here. Big side body stretch. You can look up if the neck allows, or you can look down at the back foot. And then float that arm down, straighten the leg. Turn the toes straight ahead. See how you feel. And we'll go the other way. So left toes out, right toes in slightly. That left knee bends over the ankle. Here's our foundation. We're just really rooted here. This is what a Warrior Two looks like normally when you look in a book. We're going to take those palms up, let the arms be a little bit higher than shoulder height. Not a lot, just a little. And now we're doing the squeeze and release just of the legs. Think about those thighs trying to come together and then release. So the legs are very active, upper body's active, but we're not doing the squeeze and release in the upper body. And then we'll come to stillness, let the legs just be normal. We'll drop that right hand down to the right leg. We'll reach left arm up to the ceiling. Staying in our Warrior Two stance, we might look up at the hand. We might look down at the back foot. Breathing here, stretching into side body. And then float the arm down, straighten the leg. Let's turn toes straight ahead. And then we'll bring our feet together. You could heel toe or you could just step them together, whatever you want to do. Do a little wiggle, a little jiggle, see how things feel. And then we're going to turn the chair around or walk around to the other side. And we're going to take a fold to the seat of the chair. So I'm turning my chair around for a better camera angle. And we'll take a slightly wider stance. So I'm here. It's not mountain pose. It's not super wide. I feel pretty comfortable here. It's about as wide as the legs of my chair. Let's take an inhale. Let's get as long as we can, as tall as we can. And then as we exhale, we'll bring the hands to the seat of the chair. Knees are soft. We could be here if dizziness is an issue. If it's not an issue, you might come down onto forearms and drop your head. Knees are soft. You see I have like a big bend in my knees. Breathe here. See if you can come back to that smooth and even breath that we cultivated at the beginning of our practice. And then we'll start to make our way back out of this pose. So let's first bring the palms to the seat of the chair if they're not already there. And lift ourselves up, nice long spine here. We can soften into the knees as deeply as we want to. And we're going to transfer one hand to one thigh, one hand to the other, and then push up with a nice tall spine. Coming back up to standing, bringing legs back together. Okay. Let's do one balance pose before we come back to our chair. And for this, I would say the best support would be the wall behind you. So if you need support, please bring your back to the wall. And what I like to do is give myself about an inch or two from the wall so that if I'm going to fall, I can fall back on the wall, but then I can also re-engage my core and come away from it. So it's kind of nice that I have that option. Let's bring our feet pretty darn close together. We're going to work with tree pose. Let's bring hands to hips today. I'll shift my weight into my right leg and bend the left knee and open that leg out to the side. So we can keep that foot on the ankle, or we can slide it up to the shin. But wherever the foot is, I want you to think about that side to side tension. The foot is pushing into the leg is pushing into the foot. So there's a squeeze happening there, a very steady squeeze. Once you find your foundation, you may see that your ribs just lift right up out of that hips. You can stay right here. That's terrific. Or you might want to add in some branches with a little squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. Bring the hands back together at your heart or to your hips. Release the knee forward. Step out of the pose, wiggle those hips, shake out that standing leg. That's a lot of work. If you're engaging all of those muscles, there was a lot happening there. So we got to do the other side. Hands at hips. This time I'm going to put my weight in the right leg and bend the left knee. Other side. Put my weight in the left knee, bend the right leg, open it out to the side. So here I have my foot at my ankle. The toes are on the ground. I still have this foot pushing that way and my ankle pushing that way. As soon as I engage those muscles that way, my whole body gets taller, whether it's on my ankle or on my shin. There's this length that happens there. Now you could be right here and that's fine. Or once you've found a sense of ease, you might decide to add in branches and go with that squeeze and release. And then we'll bring those hands back together. We'll release that knee forward and we'll step out of the pose. Make any kind of movements that you need to let the body feel good. Notice what's going on with tension now. Have we been able to get rid of some of it? I hope so. Okay, we're going to make our way back to our chair now. I'm back in my chair. I'm still sitting towards the edge. And we're going to sit up tall, maybe do a little bit more with the head and neck. Let's imagine first that we have a magic marker on our nose and we want to draw some small circles on that wall over there. So let's start making small, smooth circles. We don't need to tip the head too far down or too far up. Just bringing smooth movement into the head and neck. And then let those circles go the other way. And you don't have to go fast, just move at a comfortable pace. And then we'll come back to stillness in the center. Get rid of the magic marker, put a flashlight on the crown of your head, pointed towards the ceiling, and we want to make some searchlight circles on the ceiling. So again, not a big circle, but we'll make some circles on the ceiling. We don't need to move the head to any extreme. Just small circles. Smooth circles are more important. Go the other way. And then come back to stillness in the center. Let's take our left ear towards left shoulder and extend that right arm away. And breathe here. Perhaps turn the palm to the wall behind you and make some tiny pumps here. Just noticing sensations in the right side of the neck. And then let that right arm be still. Perhaps tuck the chin into left shoulder blade. Notice the difference in sensations in the neck. Stretching here. Releasing tension here in the neck. And then hand back to lap. Head back to neutral. And then we'll go to the other side. So now it's right ear down to right shoulder. Please remember that we want to keep the shoulders down as well. We can extend that left arm away from us. Palm faces behind us. We can take some tiny pulses. Just noticing sensation here. And then let the arm be still. Tuck the chin into the collarbone. Perhaps the sensation moves more towards the back of the neck. Just being aware here. And then bring hand to lap. Bring head back to neutral. Now, we're almost ready for our final relaxation, but before we do that, I'd like to engage our whole body here. So, when we do our squeeze, we're going to squeeze everything. We might pick up our heels and squeeze everything. We're going to squeeze our face, our nose, our eyes. We're going to squeeze everything, and then we're going to release it. We're going to do it 3 times, okay? So when you're ready, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Everything's working. The core, the legs, the arms, the face, everything's squinching, and then release. And let's try it again. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And release. And you may notice there's a big difference here. And then one last time, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Everything's engaged, tighter, 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 and then release everything. And now I'm sliding back in my chair. I'm putting my feet on the blocks, turning palms up. The invitation is to soften or close your eyes. Allow your breath to come naturally. Just be. Take a moment now to check in with tension in the body. How do we feel now compared to when we started? Let's stack the palms at heart center and take a moment to recall the intention that we set at the very beginning of our class. And then release those hands back down to your lap. We'll slide to the edge of the chair one last time, connecting our feet directly to the floor. Sit up tall. Bring palms together, uniting left and right halves of the body. Let the thumbs rest on the sternum. Tuck your chin and thank yourself. Thank yourself for taking time out of your busy day to practice yoga. And thank you so much for allowing me to guide you. An honor to be here with you, my friends. Stay well, and I'll see you again soon.